something. Play checkers, fucking eat ass, eat brownies. I don't do something.
Let's go to the intro.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Knot4nun pod. Here I got a special guest with me today, man. This is my sensei, Joe. It's a pleasure having him on the podcast. You know, Josh actually got me into Jiu-Jitsu right around the time I was doing a bodybuilding competition, and it was like right towards the end of my prep, I think. And before I got on stage, I did a class with Joe. He was kind enough to let me in just for that one session, and then he thought I'd never show up again.
I think they're never gonna show up.
That's true. I mean, that's one thing when it comes to jiu-jitsu, right? Like people show up like for a week and then they kind of just disappear. Yeah. Right. But no, I stuck with it, man. Josh was like, "Hey, man, like I'll lift with you once, and then you come and do jiu-jitsu." And I was like, "Sure." I've always wanted to get into jiu-jitsu, but it's just one of those things I just, for some reason, I couldn't find myself to make it at the doorsteps. But Josh finally got me in, and I'm glad he did, because I met Joe, and one of the coolest dudes that I've met outside of the dojo and as a sensei as well too. So
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I forget, was it just you, or was it you and Braulio, or did you bring Braulio the next time?
I brought Braulio the next time. Oh, okay. I think I came to
I didn't think he was gonna make it either. Sorry, Braulio. You made me proud.
No, I mean, that's real though. That's very real. Like, not too many people actually like stick with jiu-jitsu, right? They say the hardest belt is the white belt, and it's because people don't actually like attend. So I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was funny that you mentioned that though, man. So shouts out to Josh too though for getting me into them, man. So Pacific Grappler is a branch of my Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right?
Well, so Pacific Grappler was something that I started on my own. It started as an apparel brand.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to do something for the jiu-jitsu community and the grappling community out here in Okinawa. Yeah. So I was just like one day just doodling and just trying to come up with like a name. Yeah. And I had come up with a bunch of stupid stuff, man. But then like Pacific Grappler just kind of like stuck.
It's stuck.
Yeah. So then I got some guy from Pakistan to do a logo for me or something. And then here it is. I started making these t-shirts myself.
PG.
Yeah. And I would go to all the to the grappling tournaments. I would go to all the jiu-jitsu tournaments that, Yvonne would let me come and set up a table. So I had hats and patches and t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. And then when COVID hit, it just kind of fell apart. I tried doing like an online store, but that takes a lot of work. Yeah.
Do. I mean, so obviously you've always had an entrepreneurial mindset, right? Even if it wasn't, I don't think money was the primary motive, but just try and get out and do something, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that when they work at a job that they don't like, or it's just a job. Maybe it pays good, and that's why they're doing it. But in the back, in their mind, or on their free time, even at work, they're thinking about something, like that they want to do, whether it's, I want to get better at fishing or whatever, travel, or, I'm an artistic person. I like painting. I like taking photography, podcasts. And so, I was always thinking of something like to do.
I like my job though.
Besides, I just recently resigned from mine. It was a good one. It was a good job, but
we was going to segue into that because you mentioned it, right? Yeah. So recently resigned, you did time in the military, did time as a government employee, and now you own your own dojo. Like, what's that journey like? And like, was this the dream, or just something that you that fell into your lap?
It was kind of fell into my lap, so it was never like a dream or anything like that. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be on TV, and all that. I wanted to be a comedian at one point,
It was all cool.
Yeah, but your dreams kind of die after a while,
Kids don't listen to this guy.
Yeah, you go through like high school, back when I went through like school, like no one ever told you that, hey, there's other avenues and how do you get there, right? Yeah. Back then it was just like you have to go to college, you got to study for your SATs, and all that, and I didn't do good on my SATs. And no one ever gave me another options. And, I always thought, I have to go to college, right? Yeah. And then, my dad just took me aside one time because my dad's my first judo coach. So I've been doing judo since I was a little kid. And he said, you know, you don't have to go to college. Once you take time to go travel, you know, you like doing judo. Why don't you go to Japan and train? Because my dad had first learned judo at the Kodokan, which is the birthplace of judo. He started like when he was like 23, 22 maybe.
Yeah, cool, man.
And so, yeah, he had all these connections back in Japan. And so, yeah, I did that. I trained for a while. I came back home after about 6 months, got into trouble, joined the Marine Corps. And the Marine Corps was like a free ticket back to Japan. So I've been in Okinawa for like 20-something years. And I always thought to myself, every time like I had a job on base and all that, I was like, man, I had this feeling like I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Like I have no joy. Like, what am I doing? I would always ask myself, what am I doing here? You know, whether it was like some sort of meeting every Monday in the conference room, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, why am I here? You know? But yeah, I mean, I mean, it's this whole explanation. Like, my dad told me one time, because my dad's an educator. He teaches Japanese, or he used to. He just retired a couple years ago, but he's a school teacher.
Yeah.
And he always said, good teachers stay in the classroom. And he never wanted to be a principal or a vice principal, you know, and make that extra money, because, you know, teachers get paid shit, right?
Yeah.
And he just said, good teachers stay in the classroom. If you like to teach, you like to make a difference, and you're a good teacher, you'll stay in the classroom to make that difference. So, and that always kind of stuck in my head. And so, my last job is I you know, was working in transition and doing employment assistance, right? So before I was a supervisor, I was in the classroom teaching and doing one-on-one counselings, and I kind of got away from that, and I became a supervisor.
Oh,
right?
man.
And, you know, still didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I knew that I did not want to work for that company, for MCCS or whoever.
Yeah, you don't have to mention
the government
company.
or whoever, the government, wherever it is. I didn't want to work for somebody like that and be unhappy and not feel fulfilled for another 20, 30 years. And so what I was doing after work all the time was teaching jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And for a while I was doing it for free, you know, just because I love to train, I love to teach. You can ask Jacob or Josh or anyone, I rarely skipped a day. I would come even when I was sick. Probably don't do that now, right? Because after COVID, it's like, you got the sniffles, stay home, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and then eventually, you know, got a contract with Fatema, and I was already about 2 years into that when you came over. And then, Jacob and I would always talk about opening up a dojo. And if it wasn't for him, Nate and Josh and those guys to get behind me, I mean, Pacific Grappler Dojo probably would have never happened. So
yeah, shouts out to the guys, man, for real. Because I was able to see it actually blossom. I'm glad I was able to be present for that. You know what I mean? To see what it came from. Because I had just got to the dojo over at Fatema. And that was cool, you know, but this is way cooler, man. Yeah. Having your own spot, and it's like your own community here. Like when you do anything on base, it's kind of like icky, you know. You're just around like military all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like its own thing. Not to take away from being on base, but it doesn't feel like its own thing. I think that's the best words you could explain it to be, man. But shouts out to Pops too, man. Pop scene is pretty dope. So you start off as judo, right? I do wanna point out that this motherfucker brought Starbucks for himself.
I did. I'm a selfish motherfucker.
This man knew he was coming on a podcast.
I didn't know. I thought maybe you'd be drinking a protein shake or something.
Oh my gosh! Don't even come at me with that shit, dude.
I'll get you next time.
Don't even come at me with that shit.
Hold on, let's cut. Let me go grab you.
Nah. You good?
You drink Starbucks. Okay. Are you a coffee person? I didn't know.
I mean, I'm not like what is it? A coffee sommelier? What do you
connoisseur?
A connoisseur or sommelier? But I fucking drink coffee, man. You know what I mean? Okay. Black frappe. I like the fruity shit.
Oh, you do? You do? You like the sugary shit too?
Yeah, man.
Oh man, no, I can't fuck with that.
Fucking guy, man. Anyway, man. So that got you into judo mad young, because your dad learned judo when you was young, and so you stuck with judo. When was the transition period from judo to jiu-jitsu?
Oh, it didn't happen until I was about I started in 2014, so I was probably 30, man.
To jiu-jitsu?
I was in my 30s, yeah.
Oh,
I was like
real?
33, 32.
As a white belt?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting, man.
So I have always knew some guys who did jiu-jitsu out here, and it's funny because Okinawa, like 2007, I think is when Ivan Sakamoto came to Okinawa.
Yeah.
And he came from mainland, I think. He was up there for a while.
Yeah. You want to do a little backstory on Ivan Sakamoto? Just give a little
so
something a summary, nothing.
Yeah, he's I believe he's a 3rd degree black belt out here in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's from Brazil, Manaus, and he's kind of like the first person to come out here to Okinawa to spearhead and start Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu out here, or to get it going. He came here from mainland and he tapped into a source that no one was doing it. Maybe like an MMA or something. You know?
But not to the degree that it is today.
Right, yeah. And if it weren't for him, I mean, I think we'd probably be back maybe another 10 years,
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, he would put on his own tournaments. He was teaching at Cadena and Foster and Courtney. And I first met him through one of the tournaments. And then when my first instructor left, James, I started building a rapport and a connection with him. But, he's done a lot for the community. Yeah. And now the jiu-jitsu community has just grown. And I think it's other people too, because you have Palestra and that instructor, that sensei, did like MMA in Japan, but he was also a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so he's kind of helped out. And there's other people like Flavio as well. Okay, but he was probably one of the main guys to really get it going out here.
Yeah, so shouts out to Ivan Sakamoto, because without him, I probably wouldn't be doing jiu-jitsu today. Yeah, technically, right? Well. Damn, 31, 32.
Yeah, as a white belt, I always knew about that there was jiu-jitsu out here. Yeah, and I used to think like, oh man, that's crap.
That's kind of how I feel about judo.
You being being biased and stuff, right? Because I was always doing judo, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu did come from judo. Yeah. And but I noticed that one of my friends, Julio, who does judo and he does jiu-jitsu as well.
Oh, purple belt Julio?
Yeah. And Adam too. You know Adam? Do you know Adam? He's been to a couple of the no-gi sessions, but he's a brown belt. But he was a purple belt when I started. Oh, wow. And I knew him before that. He did judo as well.
You surpassed all the guys?
Yeah, I was ragdolling Adam when he was a white belt in judo, and then one day I knew he was doing jiu-jitsu. He started off with Yvonne, then he went to James, and I noticed like his newaza, his groundwork in judo, right, was getting much better.
Oh, is that what they call groundwork?
Yeah, it's newaza.
Newaza. Okay.
Yeah, tachiwaza is stand-up.
Okay.
Yeah. And he had passed me. He put me in an omoplata, and I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And so I knew he was doing that. And then Julio, like his newaza ground game started changing and was getting stronger. And I was like, "Man, what's going on?" Like, you training? You train jiu-jitsu, man? And Julio said, "Yeah, I'm over at with James." And James was from New Zealand. Yeah. And he was like one of the I think maybe the only gaijin at the time that was teaching jiu-jitsu.
Oh wow.
And he was down the road from the university over there in Nakagusku. And so that was like in November, December. And I said, okay, January of 2014, I was like, okay, I'm gonna join my first class and see what it's like. And James put me in like 4 or 5 triangles in a span of 5 minutes. And I was like, this is cool. Yeah, I dig it. Yeah. So I bought a gi that next week. And I stuck with it. And after a year, James had to leave. He had some personal issues that were going on and marital issues, so he had to leave the island. Oh, wow. And he just gave me the flag. And at that moment, I could have been like, thanks for the flag, Yeah. And he said, you can carry the team on. And that's what I did. I could have easily gone to Yvonne. I could have gone to Flavio. Could have gone to somebody else. Yeah. But I kept the flag. And then eventually...
And that's... The my
BJJ. Okay, the Mario Okinawa Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu team. And so, I was, just training, teaching guys what I knew as far as groundwork, and then studying at the same time, and then go to seminars. I would go to Roberto from mainland, who's our head instructor of Japan, would come down and train with us. So, and I just stuck with it. And I've been with them since 2014.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Definitely cool. Seriously, for real. To come from judo and just start jiu-jitsu at 31, 33. I mean, you don't see. I mean, I think it's a lot more popular today than it was back in even 2014. Even though that might seem not too long ago. It's nearly 10 years, right? Yeah. It's actually So it's that's quite some time, man.
What got you drawn to it?
Jiu-Jitsu? Oh, that's a good question. The MMA portion.
Yeah.
So I've always been just growing up back home. you always get into confrontation, man. So so you always got to be a little bit quicker on your feet and have somewhat of some decent hands and knowledge. And we used to go around in neighborhoods with boxing gloves and like throw gloves to people and be like, let's box.
Is this in Florida or Virgin Islands?
Virgin Islands, right? I didn't grow up in Florida. I grew up back home in Virgin Islands.
Oh, okay. I thought you were from Florida too.
No. I'm only from the Virgin Islands. I moved to Georgia after my freshman year of high school because my mom got really sick. She has like a bad stomach acid reflux disease.
Mm-hmm.
So we was in the States for that time, but I grew up most of my life in the Virgin Islands. So you kind of have to be like quick on your feet and with the hands, and jiu-jitsu's always been something that I was like, man, I'm gonna do it. And for some reason I never found myself actually committing.
Yeah.
Right. And then
it could be intimidating too.
Yeah. You always see the guys that come by the door, like look through the glass and they just stare and they're like I probably should be in
like
there.
we're in a zoo.
Yeah.
Like we're a bunch of fucking gorillas and shit. Yeah. And that's why I love, and that's one reason why I never thought you guys would stay with it, because a lot of times there'd be guys in the window who are lifting weights, right?
Yeah.
On Fatema, and I'll be like, I go like this. I'm like, hey, come on in. And some of them will come in, and we kick the shit out of them, right? And they're all using all their power and strength and all that.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, I'll be back next week. I'll be okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then they never show back up.
Yeah.
But
It could be that too. It was probably around the same time that I really got into lifting. Was when I turned 27, shortly after my divorce and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just I don't know if my friend was making a joke. He was saying it's probably the divorce, but I think it's more the age of turning 27 and just realizing like, man, I've been living my life kind of on the sidelines. Like I haven't been as ambitious as I thought that I would be at this point with doing stuff. And then I realized in life, like you can't just say you're gonna do things. Like the most important thing, or you can't just have the idea, you have to execute. You have to execute. That's the most important aspect of it. It's the execution part. So I was just at that point I was like, okay, well I've been lifting. I love lifting. Why not do a bodybuilding competition, right? Just see if I could actually see how disciplined I could be with my mind and my body. And did that, was successful in that in regards to my discipline of my mind and eating correct, clean for 5 months and no soda, no alcohols, except for like tequila here and there, but like shots and lifting every day and sticking to a routine and just blocking out the noise. And then I was like, okay, well, Josh saw that I was doing that and was like, hey, man, like, Matt, come and do jiu-jitsu, man. And I was like, I just made a joke. I was like, you come and lift with me one morning and then I'll come and do a jiu-jitsu class. And then he came and lifted. I was like, okay, well, I have to be true to my word. So I came in and I got fucking mauled. Humbling, right? Because, like, I somewhat have, like, a chip on my shoulder. I think, like, I'm a tough guy somewhat, right? But I'm not really. And then you go in there and it's like you're just getting tossed around, man. You have no idea what's happening to you. And then from there, I was like, okay, well, once I finish with this is going to be my next thing, right? Because it was just like that period in my life where I was just like, I need to become someone different, right? Yeah. And then something too that I mentioned was probably around like the time that I had my daughter. That kind of flipped a switch in me too. Having my daughter,
life,
having my daughter in regards to now I have to be a protector, right? And it's like, okay, I need to be lifting, I need to be jiu-jitsu in order to be somewhat able to protect. And I think that combination of all three, sorry to go on a rant, that combination of all three is what got me into it. And ever since then I'm in love with it, man. And then I have to commend you too, because if it wasn't for you as a sensei, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it, right? Because I'm a little bit wild. I show up to practice and I'm double fisting like Orion Bear, and I'm like, let's fucking roll. Like Joe's like, what are you doing, man? Like you can't be doing that. Like I got a kids class earlier. Like you can't be showing up fucking not hungover or drunk or tipsy, but you can't be showing up with alcohol. Yeah, but like if I was in any other place, like you said, like you'd have probably, you know what I mean?
You'd probably be kicked out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'd have drive me a
likely.
new one. You'd have made me a new one. And I was like, yeah, I probably should like relax a little bit and like calm down a bit. But the environment that you create, that you and Jacob have created, it's like it's cool, man. I love it. Me and Bradley, we fell in love with it. Yeah, so appreciate you, man. It's pretty dope.
I think the culture and the environment is important. And as long as we're not offending anybody and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes we got the younger kids now joining the adults, like, you know,
Yeah,
12, 14.
yeah,
So
yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
you know, we just got to make sure what we say is,
Yeah.
you know, appropriate, even though sometimes we kind of forget that they're there.
Yeah.
But no, I'm always a big believer that don't suppress people's, like, you know, personalities and who they really are, right? Like, let them be who they want to be, especially with our community, right? It's a military community.
Yeah.
And they always have to watch what they say, and they always have to say, yes, sir, you know, no, ma'am, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so when they come in, you know, just they don't want to be in that culture anymore. They want to take, you know, turn off the switch and just hang out with their friends.
Yeah. And so, I think PG does a fantastic job of that for sure. They do. I'm still more fascinated at the fact that that you started when you did. They started before you and you surpassed them. It's just the consistency of showing up.
Yeah, and, you know, it all depends on, you know, people's lives, right? Change and all that. You know, Julio and Adam got, you know, kids, you know, and a wife, and, you know, I'm married, but I don't have any kids. All I have is, you know, a few dogs and a cat.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to worry about, right? Leave some food, water out. You guys are going to be all right.
You can't do that with kids.
Yeah. So I get it. Yeah. You know, and it's that commitment to the time. So like, yeah, I was always training, you know, 7 days a week, you know. Now I've kind of tapered down. Like I usually just take Sundays off, you know, but I would go before I even had a contract. I would go wherever the jiu-jitsu was, and you can ask Jacob. Jacob would do the same thing. You know, we would go to the open mats on Kadena. We would go to the open mats on Foster. We, you know, train every day at Fatima, and we were just getting it where we can. Lunchtime rolls, you know.
Yeah.
Those are the things that make the difference. And yeah, but you know, I think with Adam, you know, he was doing MMA. He had a few MMA matches, and then after that, you know, he got married and he just got busy, and then he's going to school.
Yeah. Seems like the common denominator is marriage. Shit tends to slow you down.
It can. Unless you got a champion in your corner, you know, you got
But mostly the wives are like, no, you've been working hard, you can relax, you take a day off. It's like, that's not the wife you want. Yeah, that's not the wife you want.
No, I'm lucky. I got a wife who understands and lets me do everything I want.
Yeah, that's the best.
As long as she knows I'm gonna make time for her.
Yeah.
You know?
Finding that balance, right?
Yeah, and she doesn't have to ask for it. She knows that I'm gonna like, hey, Saturday nights, that's us. We're gonna go out every Saturday night.
Yeah.
Whether we're at home, we're gonna do something. You know?
That's cool, man.
Movie night, go out to izakaya, go out to a bar.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. So, and yeah.
That's beautiful. Is this your first?
Nah, second marriage.
Second.
Yeah. This is the 08.
The 08. It should be
the 2008. You know, like you get a car, you get a new car.
No, I'm a little bit younger.
I heard a comedian say it one time.
What did he say?
Yeah, he was like, it's like his third marriage. He was like, yeah, this is like the 05. This is the 05 wife. Like a car, you know?
Yeah. That's funny.
She's the 08.
That's funny. No, it's absolutely normal, man. I'm divorced too. I think marriage is good. It teaches you a lot about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then it teaches me, I don't know about the second or third, but I'm a realist. It could happen again, but I'm not compromising. I'm not compromising.
Yeah, it's definitely a timing thing. You know? Yeah. When my first one was not the right time.
Yeah. Nonetheless, it's cool. Man, so judo, jiu-jitsu, and then I don't think you mentioned your lineage. Your lineage, you're mixed with Japanese, right? I don't know, is that appropriate to say mix? Mixed with Japanese.
Yeah. Actually, I'm a half breed.
That's hafu.
Half breed. Yeah.
So out here in Japan, they call people that are mixed hafus, but you normally see it with like black and Asian or white and Asian. They consider them hafus, so they don't consider you. They don't necessarily like you're Japanese. They're like, oh, you're hafu.
Yeah. Or basically, I'm a gaijin, right? I'm not. I'm American. Unless I'm really good at tennis, or basketball.
Then they'll take you in.
Yeah.
They could see you full.
Oh yeah, you're in the news all the time.
Oh, that's funny.
Like Hachimura.
Oh,
and
like
that other
Naomi.
girl.
Yeah. That's funny.
Then you one of us.
Yeah. That's and it could be insulting to some Japanese people that you meet, so you don't want to just go around and be like, oh, you don't want to do that, because some of them could take offense to it. But
yeah, my mom's from Sasebo.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents met in Tokyo.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then but you spent time in the States.
Yeah,
right?
actually I was born in Sasebo, but I grew up, my whole childhood was in Washington State.
Yeah. Okay. Washington. That's. And then you joined the military and you found your way back into Oki.
Yeah.
And then you stuck with it.
Yeah, I was in North Carolina going to admin school in the Marine Corps, right?
Admin
school.
Yeah.
The best MOS ever.
Yeah.
And it was either like stay in North Carolina or you can go to Okinawa. And one of my friends, his name was Aaron Folks. He turned around. He was like one of my best friends. He turned around and goes, "Hey," he's like, "Davis, let's go to Okinawa." And I was like, cool, yeah, let's do it, man. If he didn't say that, I probably would have stayed in North Carolina, because I wasn't thinking about going back to Japan. I don't know, I was in that state where I was like, man, I just want to go back to my family and all that kind of stuff. But he was like, let's go to Okinawa, and I was like, cool, yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, man, that's I'm always amazed of how life is changed by just somewhat of a simple decision. Like your whole course of where you could have been and what you could have turned out to be, or is off of a simple decision, or not even just a friend's like, hey, let's go do this. You just go with the flow, and it's your life.
Yeah, so you could change the whole course of something.
Yeah. That's I'm always fascinated by that, man. And then find yourself out here, and then start contemplating, like, man, what am I doing?
Well, I knew when I got off the plane at Kadena, I was like, man, I could see the ocean, from the flight line. I was like, this place is dope already. I could tell, It was right after the 4th of July weekend. It was like the 4th of July, 96 or whatever it was. Yeah, we had arrived. And I was like, man, weather's great, beach.
Yeah. What year was that?
2002.
2002.
Yeah.
Man, so that's fresh, like a 9/11 wound.
Yeah.
What was that like out here? What was the atmosphere?
I mean, it wasn't that bad. Like, I think probably the year before things were pretty tense. Yeah. And I guess before that, anyone could walk onto the base. Like you had like a fence, I guess, where people can just walk in, show their ID, and just walk in and stuff. And now, like, when I got out here, it was very strict on who's coming in and out and accessing the base. Yeah, that whole 9/11 changed everything.
Yeah, worldwide, right?
I remember visiting Sasebo as a kid when I was like 10, and just to get on the base was easy. This guy would just wave his ID card. He didn't have to like show it to the gate guard. Yeah, we met this guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'll take you on base." And he got in his car, and he would just drive through, and he just waves his ID card, and the Japanese guard's like, But my wife's been out here, her whole life, and she said, yeah, it used to be easy to get on base and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Everything seems to be difficult nowadays. Everything.
There wasn't shit out here. I mean, the biggest thing, like tourist wise, I know, like in Chatan was the Ferris wheel and that old ass Aeon Mall and the Beach Tower Hotel. There was like nothing else. That whole area where AV is and Depot Island was all fenced off. There used to be some sort of like water park or hotel that didn't happen, or business fell apart or whatever. This is all to my memory.
Yeah.
But and then eventually, slowly, they started building, like maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool too, right? Because even in my small tenure of like 9-10 years out here too, like Oki has drastically changed from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Right. Like I come from Schwab, so Schwab is unrecognizable to me now, and
a lot of changes over there.
Yeah, and then even seeing like the build up of AV and Rycom, like, so I got to witness Rycom and AV build up a little bit, not to the extent of View, of course, but even so, it's just that small tenure. Like, it's slowly getting to where I think the government is trying to make it get to. I was in that position not too long ago too of like, man, what the fuck am I doing out here? For real.
Out here or like at a job or
at a job for sure.
Yeah.
At a job for sure. And I was like, man, I need to figure it out. It was kind of out here too. I was kind of being turned off by just being in Japan and just having everything be way more difficult than I needed it to be, right?
Yeah.
You know, just try and do anything, just simple stuff. And I was just like, I go to the grocery store and it's like, man, I can't tell if this is fucking softener or detergent.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm just looking for detergent. Which one is which? You know, and I think the job had me fed up, and then living out had me fed up. It's like, man, it's time to go back. And then, you know, just the universe kind of just tossed me a bone. And, you know what I mean? I got a job that I love now, and that allows me to have freedom that I truly enjoy having. And then the real, like, I guess where the juice is squeezed is to travel. Hitting up, like, Thailand. Philippines. Yeah, that's where the juice is worth the squeeze, man. Not like living out here, like, I get it.
Yeah, and you know, mainland's a whole different world, so you can always go there for a couple days and then come back and slow things back down.
True.
Yeah, but you have all that, all the you have Korea, you have
man, you have
Taiwan,
everything.
Yeah, you got all that out
at
there.
your fingertips, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to actually like go out there and just go on these adventures where you kind of get lost, right? And then what's even cooler since I've started doing jiu-jitsu is going out there and training.
Yeah.
Right? And then, like, just showing up to the dojos, and it's like, it's a little bit uncomfortable at first, right? Because you get in there and every white belt sees this somewhat strong dude, and they just want to test you, and they just want to, like, show up for the gym, and you're like, dude, I'm here not to get hurt. I just want to work on technique. You know what I mean? Just chill. Right?
Where was that at? Was that in
that was Kumamoto. Not so much.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Not so much Philippines. Philippines was more of a chill environment. More. The group I was rolling was more technical. A lot of higher level belts. So they were more chill and just kind of teaching me stuff. So I was able to learn more over there than in Kumamoto. You know. And another benefit too, though, of like being able to travel is like I get competitive as well, right? You know, I do competitions. I get competitive. I see blue belts and I just like I try to headhunt.
That's good, man.
Right? I'm always like, you're a blue belt. Let me see what this blue belt looks like, right? So that's been a blessing too. Shouts out to Le Prix. I think it's Le Prix BJJ. That's where I went to do some jiu-jitsu. They allowed me to come in on a lot of their open mats. And
that was where? In
Philippines.
Oh, in the Philippines,
yeah. In Kumamoto, it was, it's Taru. I think it's Tauru, BJJ. And that was more like a chill environment. In the sense of, I don't think too much of their guys do composition. Is something wrong?
No.
Just double checking.
No.
Yeah, because look, this is a one-man podcast, right? So if one thing goes wrong and it throws off the whole podcast, like, it's so upsetting to have to go to someone and be like, hey man, I apologize, dude, but like a mic wasn't plugged in, or
after the fact,
or the video cut out for some reason. So you always like, I'm always like cautious, right? So if I see someone keep looking at the
I'm a bit ADD too, so if I see something like the light change over there, I look.
I have to ask, because it's better to like catch it now, take 2 minutes, nip it in the bud, fix it, than after the fact, right? And it's like,
how much editing do you do? You do a lot. I just let it go, man. It's raw, right? It's real. Just
I don't mind this. Okay. I just mind the fact of like it shuts off and like I gotta come back to you and be like, hey Joe, like Sensei, like you mind coming back again?
It stopped after the intro.
Things like that. I've had stuff like that happen, and it's like, it's a learning process, right? You need to get this equipment for that to prevent, and it's like, okay, well, we work and we build as we go. So Pacific Grappler, the shirt says 2015. The dojo, when was the dojo established? I don't remember.
Yeah, December of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, so 6 months ago, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So we're coming up on an anniversary. You're doing like a 1 year anniversary of like. The
Yeah,
dojo
we should,
brand.
huh? But
Yeah.
the only
we should.
problem is that it's during like the holidays, you know. So you know, when it's like Bonin Kai season.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, if anyone you guys don't know what Bonin Kai, it's like end of the year parties and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do it during the Bonin Kai.
Yeah, it's always do like the barbecue. Some, you know what I mean? The barbecues are always mad fun to do. That was mad, a mad vibe. But definitely, man, cool environment. If you guys don't know, it's Pacific Grappler. It's outside of Legion Gate, Camp Foster. You could sign up for a 1 week free trial. I don't know how long that is, but you could sign up for a 1 week free trial. You could correct me, like
We'll sign up for one week free trial.
Currently, you're looking for people to help out with their kids' class.
Yeah, we were just asking, you know, the students that are there now, like, hey, you know, that's one way, a great way to learn not just how to teach, but to really focus on the techniques and like why do we move in this certain way?
Yeah.
Why am I grabbing my ankle? Why am I grabbing the gi this way?
Yeah.
And so when you start teaching it to a child, you know, it can actually really up your game.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly.
So I was telling them like, hey, you guys want to come out and help? And you know, it's nice because we're starting to get more kids now, and you kind of want to have more eyes on the mat, you know, making sure that some little kid's not strangling someone to death, you know. So you know, it's nice.
That's cool, man. I'm glad for I'm happy for the success for sure, man.
I appreciate it. Well, like I said, it's you guys that make it happen, you know. Like you guys help create the environment. You know, it's really for you guys and gals. You know, you guys have a hard day at work. You come here and release some steam, joke, have a good time. It's good therapy, man. So
yeah, it really is, man. But fuck, is it rough on the body?
Yeah, it is.
Dude, people be like, how's Jiu-Jitsu? I'm like, dude, it's the hardest thing you'd ever do. I promise you, it's the hardest thing you'd ever do. I can't think of... except for like if you're probably like doing like triathlons and like other types of things, right? But even so, those are I don't feel like you could quite compare it as on a sports activity level, because jiu-jitsu is full body, and if you're doing it 4 or 5 times a week for an hour and a half every day, you know, getting strangled, joints and ligaments getting pulled on. Like that wears on you mentally, man.
It's mental. It's a mental warfare within yourself. You know. Imagine like, you know, you're being held down. You can't even escape. You can't even get up, and you got someone's forearm in your neck, and they're dripping sweat in your eye and your mouth. And you're like
dead tired. Right. That was me last night. Dead tired.
Very
you on top of me, I'm like,
you talk about intimate, you know.
It's
very intimate.
That's why you always see those memes about like my husband says he does jiu-jitsu.
But
really he just rolls around with a bunch of guys.
It wasn't like a comedian, like a female comedian talking shit. That was funny.
He's a brown belt. I don't know how long he's gonna be a brown belt.
Like, he's a brown belt.
You know, there's out sale on Amazon right now for the blacks. It's funny, man. It's mad intimate, and I always tell people, like, if people ask me like, hey man, like I like to do it, I'm like, it's especially when it comes to women, right? So I've been talking to some women, like some women are like, yeah dude, I'm interested. I'm like, you're probably interested, but once you actually get on a mat and realize how intimate this is, like it could be a turn off, right? Just because of like the positions your body are placed in and stuff like that. You really have to be comfortable in the environment. I think PG does a good job of that. We have a couple women. I need to have one on the podcast too. Just
you
talk
should.
About, right,
get Natalie or I haven't seen the other girl. Her name escapes me now. But
get one of them.
Yeah.
Right. Or even the young one, right? Whose dad I think it's
Piper.
Yeah.
She loves it, man.
Yeah. Dude, I love seeing her and her brother Jace. Jace, right?
Jace, yeah.
And shouts out to that dad, man. He's cool as crap. He has
Ronnie.
all like 3-4 his kids doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes like first couple of times I didn't realize he had so many kids like showing up doing jiu-jitsu. I started teasing him like, hey man, like you could come on the mats too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just come on the mats. But he's like, nah, man, that's not for me. That's for them. I need them to go home and not have no energy to do anything. You know, it's like that's real.
He was saying that like, you know, and I'm not trying to get into their personal business, but like she wasn't, you know, she was having some issues at home and stuff, and then when they got her into jiu-jitsu, like everything changed.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and
that's
she
beautiful.
fell in love with it. Like she'd be watching videos and trying new things. And, and she's the one who wanted to come to the adult class.
That's cool, man.
She's 12, but she looks like she's 15 or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know
she's
she
very
was
mature. Yeah,
12.
very mature girl, man. So I'm excited to see her grow. I'm not sure how much longer they have on Okinawa, but you know, Jacob and I are excited always to have her at practice and see what. She picks it up.
I was watching her roll with Kentaro, and Kentaro is a black belt that's very dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Very high level, high skill, and she was really holding her own on the mat. And I was just like she makes it seem so easy rolling with Kentaro, right? And of course he's not doing anything crazy, but at the meantime, like she's shrimping, she's regaining guard, like she's doing everything correct.
She's connecting the dots.
She's gripping the lapel, she's constantly moving. If she's on bottom, she's trying to find. And I'm like, dude, that's so amazing. And that's kind of like what I want for my daughter, right? Like I'm trying to figure out how to get my daughter into jiu-jitsu without it feeling forced.
Yeah.
Right, but I do want to force her to, but I need her to fall in love with it first before.
Yeah. I think I like it when you bring her sometimes and she's got the gi on. Right?
Yeah.
So then like she sees like she's one of us. And she's doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to like the community of what PG is like. You know, I see my daughter sometimes Monday, Wednesdays, and then like every other weekend, just like it depends. And then those days we have jits. So it's like, okay, I'm not gonna miss jits. Like you gotta come with me. And then sometimes I feel guilty as a parent because I'm like, I'm doing something for me. So I'm like, okay, I probably need to take off Monday and go do something as a parent, carry her to the park. You know what I mean? Not come. So I do that sometimes. That's very rare. I can't be missing jits, man.
And so occasionally he'll bring a dog.
I was dog sitting, man, and I want to be a dog.
What the fuck are you doing with this dog? Man, put that dog back in the van. It's not that hot out.
Dude, that's a $5,000 dog, man. I don't got that type of bread to be spending on a dog that ain't mine. And I was like, he was like, you can leave the dog at the house. I was like, yeah, but then I don't know if he biting on cables and shit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm looking out the door and here you're walking from the parking lot. You got Elle walking next to you, and then you got a leash with a fucking toy poodle. What are you doing?
Yeah, and like that's the shit that I do, and like the communities. I mean, PG's still like cool. Sensei's still like cool. You know what I mean? He's not being a dick about it. You know, I mean, it's a funny like, hey, don't do that again. But it's not like, it's not to the point where it makes me feel uncomfortable, right? I know not to bring a dog again, right? But still,
or come with 2 Orion beers in your hand.
yeah, exactly, man. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do for E right now, man. Is try to figure out, because I saw like. You go on YouTube, man. They got these kids. It's like 4 and 5 or like 6, and they're fucking.
Yeah.
They look like they've been doing jiu-jitsu
right?
like 8-9 years. You're like, the technique is so good. You're like, what is happening? It's like, how do I get E to that? Right? And it's like, I need to figure out. There's this one that's brother and sister. You've probably seen them pop up on your page. Brother and sister that roll all the time, and she's like really good. She can't be no more than like 6, man.
Oh, really? Maybe if I saw it,
or probably even 5. But it's beautiful to see.
No, even like the Rutolo brothers,
Savages.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching them like almost 10 years ago.
For real.
And they already had their Instagram, and they're all connecting like these techniques together and flowing and come up with some crafty shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, man, I'm a 35-year-old man at the time, 36, 37.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, like, dang, I can never do that.
Yeah,
do that shit, right?
But that's still cool. I mean, like, how awesome is it to have like a brother you could just roll with every day too, like just in your garage?
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
That's dope, man. That's cool. Jiu-Jitsu's, it's life altering, man. And I've only been doing it such a short year. I mean, such a short amount of time.
You started when, October?
August.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have a picture of it. August is when I started, like mid-August.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I remember you said like, after the Far East tournament, you were gonna.
Far East was July.
Yeah. I remember you told me, you said, I asked you, I said, so when's the next bodybuilding competition? You go, no, that was it.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I'm just going to focus on jits. I was like, hell yeah.
Dude.
Hell
Yeah.
I got excited. I'm like, hell yeah.
Just being a weapon, man. That's my only goal right now.
Just don't quit when you get your blue belt. Don't be like, nah, I got my blue belt. I'm good.
No, man, I don't
on the golf.
What the fuck? Yeah, we're lacking some upper belts at the dojo, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm excited about, like you and Braulio, a couple other guys, right? Just,
Yeah.
you know, because I know you guys are gonna stick with it.
Yeah, and we're out here for a good amount of time. To like me indefinitely, right? Braulio, he has still 3 years, and then I really wish Adi was out here a little bit longer too.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh man, did he start?
He started like a month or two after me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man,
I know.
I saw him tapping one of the blue belts like 3 times with the same technique.
Yeah.
Bow and arrowing the shit out of that guy.
Adi's a definition of fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Right?
He's another guy I didn't think he was gonna stick around either.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
He's like, no, I want to learn this jiu-jitsu stuff, grappling. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And he got a gi. I'm like, okay, bought a gi. Okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Your impression of Adi is funny as fuck.
But yeah, he's
Yo,
good,
for
man.
y'all that don't know, man, Adi is African, and my man, he eats his fufu and rice, bro. Adi, he don't look like he work out a day, but in the sense of genetics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if he worked out, he'd be way bigger than what he is, but he's a strong African
He
fufu
looks
and
like
rice
a statue,
eater.
man. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like chiseled.
Forearms big, hands big. I hate rolling with him. And then the worst part is too, he don't come off the mat. He don't come off the mat, bro. He's always rolling. He doesn't get tired. And like I gas out mad quick, and I'm trying to figure out how I could be better. And of course, you just gotta stay on the mat and keep going. But
Yeah, you just gotta keep going. If you get tabbed, you get tabbed. You're tired, whatever.
yeah,
You know,
just keep going, right?
Because then you force yourself to just use technique, all right?
Yeah.
Or you force yourself to survive and get out of bad situations, right?
Yeah. But Adi's the epitome of fuck around and find out for a white belt.
Yeah.
He's dope. I love him.
I love
man.
him too. Yeah,
I love him.
I don't know how much longer he has, but gosh, I wish he could stay too.
Yeah. And see, that's the part that sucks about out here, man.
It's just the constant rotation.
Rotation of people, man. Constantly having to meet people, and they leave, and then you meet new people. And it's like that for me is mad exhausting.
It's a
man.
pro and it's a con, you know. It's a gift at the same time, because then you always have that connection with somebody. And now with social media, you can always stay connected. So
Yeah.
you know, if they're back somewhere in the States and you happen to be going there, you can always link up with them.
Yeah,
and
true.
they're always going to be the ones too that say, "Hey, you're going to Okinawa, go see Joe or go see Matt, go to PG."
Facts. Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
you know, it's a blessing in disguise, but it sucks at the same time, because you know
Yeah.
we want to keep those members, we want to keep those people there that we
Yeah.
enjoy rolling with.
Yeah. And I'm sensitive in that sense too. Like when I meet great people, like I just kind of want them to stick around. I don't want them to go anywhere. So that could just be my sensitive side showing. But Adi, I love having Adi. I love having Luke around too. You know what I mean? Luke is fairly new, but he's a good one. And then hopefully we got hopefully Jason stick around too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Jacob, man. He was telling me that during y'all love jiu-jitsu so much that during COVID y'all was sneaking in like people's houses and doing
We were training out of Nate's garage in Yomitan. Yeah. It was like it was, when did everything start to shut down? Like March. I remember end of February. Was it end of March? They said that's it. Like there's no more jiu-jitsu, at Fatema. And I had just started the contract, and I was like, shit, okay.
Oh,
I
wow.
had been there like maybe a year.
Yeah.
And with the contract, I was at Fatema for like forever, so all of April, no jiu-jitsu. I was doing stuff in my spare room. I bought some puzzle mats, put it down. I made some videos for my kids' judo class and all that.
Yeah.
And then it was like, May, like right when May kicked off, I get a text from Nate saying, hey, I got some mats in the garage, and he's like, do you want to come train? And it'll only be like a select few people, right, who can keep it on the DL. And this is like we're gonna commit a crime and shit, you know? Yeah. It's like some movie and shit, like where a robot's going around saying, stay in your house or something, like Matrix shit or something. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. And then I'm texting Jacob like in code like, hey, if there was jiu-jitsu, man, would you come train? He's like, for sure. I'm like, all right, meet me at this location, drop him a pin and shit. Yeah, we would show up. I would only do it 3 times a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't know why I didn't do it every day. I should have, but I don't know. Yeah, it was just like, man, I want to go home and drink beer and eat a pizza. But yeah, we were training like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays, and sometimes Sundays. Yeah. And that's another thing. We never stopped training, like only for that 6 weeks, and then it was,
back to it.
We were just back to it all the time. Yep. Hightailing after work up to Yomitan, and then I'd be back home like around 8:00 p.m.
It's commitment, man. Yeah. I try. Yeah. See, that's why I don't make excuses. I show up, man, because it's like, if you really want to get somewhere, you gotta execute. Yeah. You gotta show up.
Yeah, and that's something like people don't have a perception of reality of like how much time and effort goes into it to actually progress, right? And the guys are like, I don't get it, man. I'm like, yeah, you only been here for 6 practices, man.
Yeah. Dude, this dude was talking to me, and I was on a mat, and I didn't want to be rude to him, you know what I mean? But I was mad tired last night. And he was talking about like not getting a technique, and I was like, "Bro, I've only seen you like twice."
Did you say that to him?
No, I wanted to.
Yeah.
Right, but I didn't want to be that like dude that's a dick. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, dude, I'm still figuring out. Like you don't not stop learning. Like you constantly learn, right? And then you always have these light bulb moments of like, this is how I need to be. This is how my weight distribution needs to be. This is how my posture needs to be. Like, that's gonna keep coming, but you have to show up. And that's what I was telling him. I was like, bro, just don't worry about it. Just show up. Just show up. Yeah. That's all you gotta do. Just show up.
I think things like the Marine Corps, like the MCMAT program, like it gives like a false, what do you call it? Reality, right?
False perception.
Perception, right? Because they're like, show me a counter to the straight punch, right? And they're like, step out of the way, block, right? Like, you pass. Yeah. Okay, show me, right?
That's fucked, right?
Show me this, right? Like, okay. Yeah. Right? It's like, no.
Because that was a big map fish right there. That's funny.
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah. Right? So that's not how it really is.
Yeah.
You know? And like, even though Kentaro and I or Jacob, we're demonstrating a technique, I'm only showing you 5 steps. 3 steps, maybe, right? In reality, there's like 20 steps, right? You gotta turn your wrist this way. You gotta move your hips in this direction. You gotta change the angle here. You gotta put more pressure. You gotta kind of feel it, right? There's all these small micro transitions, right? And stuff. Yeah, adjustments.
And that's what I'm talking about too, where it's like those light bulb moments of when you're actually rolling that you have is those micro adjustments, right? Because you start to feel a difference of the technique when you're actually rolling with people like, this is how I need to like switch my hips, and this is how I need the posture, and it's like, you're not gonna get it off of not even fucking 6 months, man.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes it's easier to tap a color belt than it is a white belt, because sometimes you guys are just like, and it's like, this is not how you're gonna really do jiu-jitsu, right? This is not how you move. You don't just like flex and just stay in this position, right? So I always feel like the more that you know in jiu-jitsu, it's gonna be a lot easier for me to tap you, or it makes the game more fun. Like Kantaro and I, we were just going like, straight 5 minutes, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, just
one
flowing.
technique to the other, one technique to the other. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just we weren't staying in one position.
Yeah, it's that flow state. Yeah, and I noticed that too.
It's a chess match.
Yeah. It very much is, man, and I think that's why like people fall in love with it because of the complexity of it, man.
Yeah, you be at home or at work, like behind the computer or whatever, and you're like, how the fuck did he do that? I'm gonna get on YouTube or something. I'm gonna see how to defend this or whatever. I'm gonna get this motherfucker next time, right?
You try out some Instagram reel moves that you've seen on Instagram. You're like, I'm gonna test this shit out. Right? Who I could test this out on? I can't test it on Adi, man.
Man, I forget. Someone angle locked me, and I was like, all right, I was like, you got it, man.
Yeah.
But then after practice, I was like, I'll see you on Wednesday, man. And that whole time, I'm like, I'm going to get that motherfucker. And Wednesday comes around, I'm like, I've been thinking about you for 48 hours. You ready to go? They're like, damn, shit.
That reminded me too, right? I texted you on some wild shit one time. I forgot. I don't think I was tipsy or anything. I forgot what it was.
You said, what's up, bitch? What's up, pussy?
Yeah.
I was like, I texted you. I said, is this the wrong chat? You're like, nah.
You know what it was? I had just started to feel like I was learning Jiu-Jitsu.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. I had just started to feel like I felt like I was probably like 6 months in, 7 months in. I don't remember, right? It was around that probably 6 or 7 month mark, and I'm like, I'm starting to get it, right? So one night after practice, I think I had tap an upper belt, and I was just, I was cocky. I was feeling myself, and then I was at work randomly, and I was just like, man, I'm gonna see what's up with the black belt. I'm gonna see what's up with Sensei. So I texted him. I was like, I was like, what's up, pussy? I was like, meet me here at 18:30 tomorrow. And I sent him a pin, and it's the fucking pin to the dojo.
All right, so here we go. Okay, so it was November 22nd of last year, 2022, and this is like we had our November was like a soft opening. Like we had just got done laying down the mats at the end of October. This is like a month in, right? I get this text at 12:58 p.m. I must have been at work or something.
Yeah,
right?
he was at work.
Yeah, it says, pussy, I got 4 taps yesterday. If you want the smoke, meet me at PG Dojo tomorrow, 18:30 sharp.
And I said the pin.
And you dropped the pin. And then my response was, huh? And I put like the laughing emoji.
Yeah.
And you said, you read it right? I said, I'm so confused right now, LOL. I'm going to murder you tomorrow for the pictures and video promo.
Yeah, because it's right what you said.
Yeah. We had Kensei's brother come in to shoot a video.
Yeah.
Shoot a promo video, yeah.
And then it went from that chat to the actual my BJJ chat.
Yeah.
Where everybody's like, dude, Mac, you just fucking signed your debt list, right? So I show up. And he's like, no, you're rolling with me the entire night.
That's right.
It made it worse. I had a chick come.
That's right,
I brought a chick with me, and because I was introducing her to the dojo.
That was the wrong time to bring her.
And I just got mauled for about like 6 or 7 rounds, right? And like 1 or 2 of those rounds, you had a choke on me. You'd squeeze, let go, squeeze again. What the fuck? I'm about to puke.
That's not the first time I've done that to somebody.
Yeah, you told me.
I told you that story?
Yeah.
He was talking shit to me, and I was like, all right. And then one of my friends goes, oh, shit, I think I know what's about to happen.
He's about to die.
I was just like, he's like flopping around. And like,
Yeah, it's funny, man. Yeah. But that's the environment that I love, man. I love that and then kudos to you, too, that you could, like, take that, you know what I mean, so lighthearted, like how I intended it to be, right? I intended it to be just lighthearted, just shit talk, and just be a little bit funny, right? A little bit of an entertainment. But I know you could run into some people that might take that the wrong way, right? It's being disrespectful.
There's people out there who are like that. Yeah, no, not me. I got a great sense of humor. You know, I think Jacob does too. Josh, you know, we all. And you know, like you and I are in the military, so it's like that military like humor and just,
Yeah.
you know, we call banter and shit like that, right?
Yeah. Jacob has a crazy sense of humor, bro. He's funny as fuck too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He could have been a comedian easily.
He probably still could if he just like try it, right?
He's got a good perception of the world and just like, you know, he talks shit. It's so funny.
Yeah, I haven't connected with him more, man. Outside of just outside of the dojo, I need to connect with him more too. Probably have him on the podcast too.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, I'm free all next week, right? This week.
Oh, you took 2 weeks of leave?
Well, I had 2 weeks. Yeah.
Like user leave or something, or what?
Yeah. It's ETO, so it's earned time off because we don't get overtime. So those back-to-back exercises for those 13-hour shifts.
Gotcha. When was your birthday?
Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday, man.
Yeah, 28, man. I'm getting up there, but
getting up there, 28. Man, shit.
Dude, yeah, bro. I talked to all these like women that are like 24, 23, and they're like, "How old are you?" I'm like 28. They're like, "Ooh, 30." You should start telling people you're 30. I'm like, why are you so disrespectful?
Yeah, you're starting to hit your physical prime, man. What are you talking about?
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
20, 28?
20, between like, I would say like 20, late 20s, 28, 29 to like 32, 33 is your physical prime. Like,
okay, yeah. So
man.
you hear that, ladies? Stop telling me I'm old. All right. Anything that you want to leave the people them with, or like anything that you want to talk about, that you want to mention, or you know, just a gem you want to drop, like a David Goggins gem. You know, shout out to the man.
A David Goggins gem.
No, it doesn't have to be him. I'm just saying, you know, something
like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. You know, something to live with, stick with.
Yeah, you got to have discipline and a routine and find something that you love. Even though there's going to be days where like you don't want to do it, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it. And if you don't have that routine, if you just kind of lay in bed all day and don't do shit, nothing's going to get done, you know. I believe that what I've started now it was created from being disciplined and continuing what I was doing in the last 10, 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Never stopped training. Always kept good relationships and connections. That's an important thing too, is networking. Never burning bridges with people.
Yeah.
There's a guy out here that I know who will rename nameless, but you know he burns bridges. And in the jiu-jitsu community, you'll never see him with the other black belts talking and enjoying each other's company, right? It's a small island.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I always believe about community and helping each other. All the black belts here that I'm friends with, we all help each other. You know, I was just telling one of the guys that came, he was from Kinzer, right?
Yeah.
I told him, I said, hey, I know it was a long drive, and if you find out that it's going to be hard, you know, there's always Elton over down at Kinzer too. You know, check him out. And Elton's probably the same way. You know, we help each other out. But, you know, have good relationships with people. Don't try to take anything personal. Create a good network. But plug away every day. You got to be disciplined. It's not about motivation. It's about doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about execution.
Yep. Whether you love it or not,
right.
You got to get through it.
Yeah. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is from Sensei Joe from PG, man. Deuces.
All right.
Man.
That was it?
Yeah.
Easy, son.
Yeah, it's